me tell you about a friend. Uh, and I hate to stay so long on the military side, but let me tell you something else that happened to me uh, before I transitioned out back to civilian life. When I was in Bremerhaven, and this is staying with Bremerhaven, so I guess, I am adjoining the two. I'm still within that window of Bremerhaven, Germany. Okay, I'm in Bremerhaven, Germany still, and in the Army, got a full-time job, staying busy. However, I was able to get a second job. I worked on the base at the rec center. I worked on the base at the rec center. Great job. Didn't make much money. It made, I say about $100 a week, but that was great money because I was getting my military pay, and, extra $100 a week, gave me an opportunity to just make additional revenue or additional monies. But when I was there, this is when there was what would you call these type games? Not a pinball machine, but an electronic device machine. But there was a game called Galaga, and I fell in love with it. And I used to play, even though I was working, I was able to enjoy all the festivities of the recreation center while I was working there. And I used to play Galaga all day, like Saturdays and Sundays, when I had to work longer hours. Like during the week, I only worked like 4 hours on some nights. But on the weekends, it was like a full 8-hour day. But I used to play against this guy named Schamberger. I don't know Schamberger's first name, but I can still see his face. He was a great guy. And we used to compete. And I think he loved that game as much as I did. And I mean, I really loved that game. I mean, it's 40 years later, and I still haven't grown out of it. I don't play it. I haven't played it in a while, but it's still in my thoughts. But I used to also play chess a lot. I used to sit down, and when I was playing chess, if somebody asked me, because I had to sign out pool balls and stuff, and if somebody said, hey, I need to sign out some pool balls, I would just leave my chess game, get up, go and sign out the pool balls, come back and finish my game. But I used to play chess against a guy named John Presley, and we literally used to play game after game after game of chess. And when I came back to the States, he wrote me. He was one of the few people that returned. Well, not one of the few people, but he was, I didn't write many people after I left, but the few people I did write, he wrote back. John Presley, Robert Lloyd, he worked there with us also. And I don't know why, both of those guys worked in the finance department. I mean, I was a Signal Corps guy, and I'm not sure why I befriended the guys from the finance department. They were like administrative type guys when I was a technical guy. But we were really good friends, and John Presley, I read his letter not too long ago. I've held on to the letters. I didn't get many, but I held on to the letters from my friends, and several years I've had those. I wouldn't say that I'm a hoarder or anything, but some moments, you just, or some things you just hold on to. And here, let me tell you some of the things. I held on to the letters from Robert Lloyd and John Presley and I got these letters in 1981. Okay, I'm back with you, back online. Where was I? Dog, I just, that was quite a break. Hey, let me tell you, the video equipment just reset itself. We're not sure why. It looks, initially we thought that maybe the battery wasn't plugged in, maybe the AC wasn't plugged in. It was running on battery and it just timed out, but we're not sure, but we're back with you. Okay, I was talking about, God, I had it going good too. Schamberger, I think I had moved on from there. And I was talking about John Presley. Oh, I know where I was. I was talking about the letters that I received and sent to people, and hoarding, like holding on to stuff and keeping stuff for a long time. Now, I mentioned to you that I have these letters that I've held on to since like 1981. I have a tendency to hold on to things that I think are important. And regardless of how long time is, or, how long it is between time passing and now, doesn't make any difference to me, because important things should be maintained or held. Now, I've held those letters, but here's something else. I have my pay vouchers from 1978. I kid you not. I have pay vouchers. I can tell you exactly how much I made in 1978, all the way through, let me see, I think, I don't have them right now because I walked away from the workforce. But I can't think of the year that I actually walked away, because I retired from NCR in 2006. But then I went back on a special assignment to do some technical work for a few years for SunTrust Bank. That was pretty good too. I was working with the executives up there. They, I guess they had vetted me and felt pretty comfortable with my expertise. But I worked with them. I was in charge of maintaining that area. They didn't let many people come and go up there. So, because security, so that tells me I was kind of special in a sense, I think. But anyway, back to hoarding and holding on to things. And I told you I've had these pay vouchers. I've got all of my pay vouchers from 1978. Well, one of the things that I really want to talk about when it comes to holding things and keeping them for a while is this. This is a friendship story. I am away from home in the military overseas at the time. No, this was just before I went overseas. I'm still in the States. It is 1970. No, this was not 1978. This was almost the summer of 79. I'm going to say May of 79. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty close to that window. Somewhere between May and June of 79. I had a friend that was getting married, a guy named Winky, Charles Blanton. This Winky, because there's two Winkies. The one from Mississippi and Walker is Charles Blanton, that Winky. He was getting married, and he sent me an invitation, asked if I could come, and I wasn't able to commit. But I did make I wasn't able to commit to him that I would be able to, because I was in the military, and sometimes, you just don't have an opportunity to leave for the weekends. So I wasn't able to commit, but I did make his wedding. Now, speaking of hoarding, let me share with you this. During his wedding, he gave the participants a money clip. It was his wedding gift to the guys that participated in his wedding, to the best man, to all of the guys who were dressed for the event. And when I say that, you know, I just drew a blank on what you would call all of the groomsmen who are in session or in line or participating. I'm drawing a blank right now, but anyway, he gave us a money clip, and I can't wait to see him, because I'm gonna go, hey man, let me show you how special you were to me, because I considered you not only a good friend, but a great friend. And I'm gonna shock him with this. I'm gonna go, hey man, remember when you got married and you gave us these gifts? I still have mine in recognition of you. Every time I look at it, I think of you. I've had mine for, man, this is a good solid 40 years. I hate to talk like that because it kind of would make you seem kind of old. However, I am getting older, so I just guess I have to accept that. But I have this gift that he gave me, this little money clip, and I look forward to the moment that I can see him and present it to him, and just, well, not present it, but just, I guess, present it in a sense. I'm show it to him and say, hey man, I've never forgotten you. You've been in my thoughts, you know, the whole time. Thoughts and prayers, you know. But I'm anxious to see if he remembers it, though. He probably don't, you know. Sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes things are important to some, and others will, you know, not, you know, capture that moment at the time in the same relevance that you do. So I'm just going to give it to him, or not give it, I'm going to show it to him. Winky, that's my gift. It's a reminder of you. But I'm going to present that gift to him just to let him know that he was a dear friend. Last I heard, I think he was out in California, but I don't think he came back because his mother and father had passed. Miss Ruth and Mr. Charles, those were his parents, and they passed. And you know what, since I'm right there in the neighborhood where I was living with him, it reminds me of a friend named Danny. I had a friend named Danny. He died young, but he lived over on Mississippi and Walker with us, but he was down the street closer to Booker T. Washington High School in a set of apartments there. But he used to love playing cards. And card games were big when I was young. We used to play a game called Pokino. And Pokino is like a little card game, you know, where it's almost like bingo. However, we used to also play cards, you know, like fun games like playing cards like Pity Pat and Spades and stuff. And he absolutely loved playing cards. And that was near and dear to my heart too, so he was a good friend. He passed. I was talking to family one day, and when I learned that he had passed, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a minute, you mean Danny's not here? But I don't want to talk about that. It's a good memory. However, this isn't the forum where I want to talk about death, you know, because it's supposed to be upbeat, and I have got to remember to try to stay upbeat. I realized on one of the earlier conversations that I had that I was beginning to lose my enthusiasm, and I don't know if it was because I was getting tired or, you know, what the cause of it was, but I just got to remember to stay enthusiastic about some things. I want to go to Devon. I'm up in Seattle. Oh, here, let me go back a minute. I was talking about doing things in chronological order. However, I said I wanted to bounce around a little bit so that, to kind of give some flavor to it. It wouldn't become monotonous, and I feel like every now and then it can become monotonous when you ask someone to sit down and look at a video and, pick up what they can from that video or learn what they can from that video. But let me bounce over to Devin. And Devin's my son. He's up in Seattle, Washington now, and I fly up there, and I'm like, hey, just wanted to spend some time with you and the family because we're so far away, we don't get a chance to see each other often. And I wanted to make sure that I at least try to get out there periodically. So I'm there, and the family is taking me around, and him and Crystal, they're taking me around, and we're enjoying life, whining and dining and having, coffees and doing some things together. Just what families do when they haven't seen each other. I guess you could call it fellowshipping. We were fellowshipping. And I had a conversation with them, with Devin and Crystal. And I was like, hey, can I pass something on to you? I don't know if you've ever thought about this here, but for some reason I'm inclined to tell this story. And I think it was, Devin had mentioned something about Max and sports, I think it was. Or I think we were talking about baseball and basketball, and we mentioned Max. Well, and Max is Devin's son, my grandson. So I was saying, hey, you know what? People always talking about you're born with these gifts. You're born with, this innate ability. And I'm like, I don't buy into that narrative. And here's the reason why. I've never seen a 6'4" baby come out of a woman. Never. I've never seen a 6'9" kid in a hospital ward. So the growth, came as a result of, just resting and, taking the right vitamins and eating the right foods and doing the right things. That's where growth comes from. But I was also making that relative to the skill sets. When somebody brag about I was born with this gift and they were born with this gift, nobody's born with a gift like that. All of that, and this is just my opinion, because I've never seen scientific data that proves it. And I always lobbied towards data and used all the data that I make some of my decisions on based around fact. And I've never seen any supporting data that says that. It's all been, just state of mind and just dialogue or conversations. But my theory is this, and this is fact-based or scientifically based. And they say that if you want to become an expert at anything, it's not that you're born with it. You're not born with it. It is you have worked hard and developed that skill. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. You're born with nothing. You develop it because you work hard at it. Here's what I mean. There's a thing called, and this was the conversation I was having with Devin. There's a thing called the 10,000 hour rule. And this is a scientific synopsis. And they say that if you spend 10,000 hours doing anything, regardless of what it is, if you spend 10,000 hours doing anything, you'll become an expert at it. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Here, let me take that one step further. A basketball player, let's look at a Michael Jordan, a Steph Curry, and just Magic Johnsons, and just all of these Hall of Famer type guys, right? We'll stay on the Hall of Famers because that's proven skill. Those guys got to be good because they worked at their craft. They worked at it. When everybody else would be home resting and sleeping and, playing foosball or, throwing rocks across a lake, or skipping rocks, not throwing across a lake, but skipping rocks. They were working at their craft. They were working at their craft. It's just that simple. If you want to be good at anything, spend the time working at it. When you get to 10,000 hours, as science has proven, when you do 10,000 hours of anything, you're an expert at it. And that's about 10 years. If you focus on something for 10 years and work at it consistently for 10 years, but once you put in 10,000 hours, you're going to be excellent at it. You're going to be an expert. Now, you're not going to be just good. They have mediocre, or you can look at mediocrity, good, and then you can say marginal. But let's take it on up to expert. You are an expert when you do the 10,000 hours. So keep in mind that if you want to become an expert at anything, good at anything, become a world-class person at anything, just always adhere to the 10,000 hour rule and work at it, and you'll become that. You're learning constantly, and that's all it takes. When you do something for so long, you just become great at it or good at it. And, just staying with that, there was a saying. Here's a saying. And I'm staying with the 10,000 hour rule. You cannot let fatigue become your pillow. We can always get tired of doing something and just all of a sudden go, well, I want to give up on it. I'm tired, I've done it enough, and fatigue can make you give up on something. But if you persevere, if you just constantly work through it, you'll get over that hump, and then it'll become a love. That sounds crazy. Where you do something so often that you actually fall in love with doing it. It'd be like, it don't even become work anymore. Like, say, for example, let's look at a basketball player. Just a basketball player. You can shoot so many shots. Your arm will get tired. You'll want to quit because you're fatigued. But if you just constantly work at it, all of a sudden, you'll go from tiredness, then your muscles will start getting used to it, and then you'll have muscle memory, and then all of a sudden, you'll end up shooting that basketball, and your muscles will just do it real fluidly, as if it's not work at all. And then all of a sudden, you'll develop a love for it. Always keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind. That's important. But no, I hate I spoke like that. But it is. It really is. Let me go on to one of the things that, here's another story for you. I used to love being in an open field. As a matter of fact, I still do. And let me share with you when it began. We were living on a street called Fireside, and I used to go into this open field and look for 4-leaf clovers. four-leaf clovers, and pretty difficult to find. But I used to constantly just look for four-leaf clovers and developed a love for just looking down at the ground and looking around me. It paid off too, because one day I'm walking home from school and I find a $20 bill that was stepped over by everybody in front of me. But because I'm looking down, I find a $20 bill. And oh man, I tell you, when I took that home, I was nervous all the way home that day. I never will forget, I had my hand in my pocket on the $20 bill, and I was like shaking as I was walking. I mean, literally trembling as I was walking, and I just couldn't wait to get home. And when I got there, I showed it to Mom. I was like, I found a $20 bill, you know. And that was at the time, that was the greatest feeling that I had ever had, and story that I've never forgotten. But it came as a result of me looking for four-leaf clovers. I still, right to this day, look at four-leaf clovers. I remember when I had Andre in the field one time. We were up there outside not the community center, what is that called? Civic Center. I almost said community center. We was outside the Civic Center, and there was a little track, like a jogging track, you know, like where track and field athletes run around. It was a track around this field. And I was like, hey, let's go and see if we can pull some honeysuckles and look for some four-leaf clovers. And we had a great day that day. We just looked around for four-leaf clovers, and I was amazed at how fast he found those four-leaf clovers too. Maybe it was his young eyes at the time, or maybe it was just great luck. But then again, it could be, you know, sometimes you just have a mindset to where you can, what's that, like abstract type art? When you have something that's abstract, you can see it, it's more defined to you if you have one of those analytical minds. But he was able to find like four four-leaf clovers that day. And we put it in the Bible, you know, because that's the old saying, if you find a four-leaf clover, put it in the Bible and good luck will come to you. And I still believe that. And I still have four-leaf clovers in my Bible right now. But I've never grown out of that. I'll look around and, you know, whenever I'm in the field, I see some clovers out there, I'll still search for four-leaf clovers. I guess one day I need to grow out of that as I think about it. But it gives me pleasure. I don't know why, but it gives me pleasure. I don't know if I'm just looking at the sun on the flowers. I don't know what it is, but it's a pleasurable moment for me, and I still do it. So, nah, I don't think I'll give it up.